And now I invite our board president, Bruce, to share a few words as a sabbatical moment.
Good morning. It's rare for me to take the pulpit as president of this meeting house. In a little more than 3 months, Rev Kate's sabbatical will begin, and she will be gone for the months of March, April, and May. That's a short time ahead. So what I'm going to do is first introduce the members of the sabbatical committee. We've kept it very small, and if they would stand, Ellen Anthony, Jane Lee, and Lorraine Kujawa, and myself. We had our first meeting last month, and Rev Kate kindly came and brought us some of the tasks that she does that we need to take over as a congregation. It was this side and this side, and that's just the beginning of what we're going to need to encompass and be able to do. A sabbatical is not a vacation, and a sabbatical is actually written into the contract that we have with our minister. For 5 years, a minister is not allowed to use any sabbatical time, but they earn 1 month for every year that they serve as a minister. Kate is now in her 7th year and has decided to take 3 of her sabbatical months. It is a time for her to refresh herself, to rekindle her own spirit, to take care of herself. And we're going to be very careful to not bother her during those 3 months. It's important. Over the last couple of years, we've done a number of very large projects together. We've bought a parsonage. We've survived a flood. These 3 months are going to be another period of time in which we have to work in fellowship together. The list that I just showed you, the sabbatical team has gone through, and we will be coming to individuals and asking them if they will be willing to take on certain tasks during the 3 months. We are trying to choose those tasks based on your talents and gifts, and hopefully you'll be able to help us out doing it. It will take all of us to be able to do this and run the meeting house for 3 months. In advance, I appreciate all your help. Thank you.
I share with you now our first reading of the morning, How to Rake Leaves on a Windy Day by Margaret Renkel. Leaf blowers are like giant whining insects that have moved into your skull. They have ruined autumn with their insistent whine and their noxious fumes, and they are everywhere. You may believe it is futile to resist them, but you still can. In almost every situation where something is loud, obnoxious, and seemingly ubiquitous, resistance is an option. Head to the weathered shed in your backyard and fiddle with the rusty padlock until it finally yields. Reach into the corner where you keep the shovel and the post hole digger and the pruning shears. From that jumble of wonderful tools requiring no gasoline, pull out a rake. Quite some time has elapsed since you last used the rake, and its tines may be a bit crooked now, bent here and there along the row. Never mind. The rake will do. Making do is part of the point. Think of how the rake reminds you of the comb your mother tugged gently through your clean hair after a bath. Think of the way your mother smelled as she leaned close to untangle the snarls. Remember how your damp hair held the rose the comb left behind, like new planted peanuts in your grandfather's fields. That's what the grass will look like after you've cleared it of leaves. Take care to lift the rake a little when you arrive at the raised roots of the maple trees and the margins of the yard where the lawnmower can't reach beneath the tangle of honeysuckle. Don't push too far into those hidden spaces beneath woody shrubs or the hollows between the tree roots. This is where small crawling things are hiding, sheltering under the damp leaves. Whatever it might feel like on this damp November day, remind yourself that springtime is coming. Don't let the wind become a frustration to you. This is not the time for insisting on perfection. We are making do now, remember? In a forest, fallen leaves compost themselves to feed the trees. The leaves you miss in raking will molder and rot through the winter, generating their own heat and protecting large trees and small creatures alike. Think of your desultory raking as a way to feed the trees, as an investment in the urban forest. When the wind rises, pause. Stand still. This is your chance to smell the living soil stirred up by raking. Its pungent scent may recall to you the long-ago taste of mud pies and the smell of centipedes. While you're breathing in the scent of the ancient soil, listen for the squirrels. They will be fussing at you from the treetops, scolding you for turning up the dirt they have claimed for their own planting. All autumn long, the squirrels have been sowing nuts and acorns across the landscape. Take a moment to wonder, leaning on your rake, how many forests the squirrels' thumbless hands have planted in all the busy autumns of their kind. Now see, for a moment you have managed to forget the leaf blowers. You have failed to note the sounds of traffic on the nearby street where everyone is in a hurry and always drives too fast. For a moment, too, you have forgotten your worries, your own small worries and the bigger worries of the world. Remember that one day soon the wind will die down, the tree limbs will be bare, and the small creatures that live beneath the leaf litter will burrow down deep into the cold ground. For now, give yourself over to what is happening in the sky. Watch the leaves unloose themselves from their branches and deliver themselves to the wind. Watch the wind, which you cannot see, catch and lift the leaves, which you can see. Before you go inside, take a leaf in your hand. Put it on your desk or next to your bed. Keep it nearby through whatever troubles the long winter brings. It will help you remember that nothing is ever truly over. It will help you remember what the wind always teaches us in autumn, that just because you can't see something doesn't mean it isn't there. We don't have our usual spoken candles of joy and concern today, but I do invite you to light a candle to the right of the pulpit at any time during the service, and there is a journal there to record your thoughts and prayers. And I also want to mention that we are holding in our collective prayers this morning a little 10-year-old girl from Framingham. She's a Muslim girl who has received some really awful notes at school. One of them is quite threatening, actually. And so there is this collective community response of sending her some much-needed love notes to counteract those bad ones. So downstairs during coffee hour, we invite you. There's a round table outside of April's office, and there are cards there that she has prepared for us. And if you want to write to this little girl, we invite you to share your message of love. And April will be sending them to her in one big envelope later in the week. And I invite Jen Shannon to offer our meditation this morning.
This is a meditation on gratitude and joy by Jack Cornfield. So let yourself sit quietly and at ease. If it's comfortable, close your eyes or soften your gaze and focus downward. And allow your body to be relaxed and open, your breath natural, and your heart easy. Begin the practice of gratitude by feeling how year after year you have cared for your own life. Now let yourself begin to acknowledge all that has supported you in this care. With gratitude, I remember the people, animals, plants, insects, creatures of the sky and sea, air and water, fire and earth, all whose joyful exertion blesses my life every day. With gratitude, I remember the care and labor of 1,000 generations of elders and ancestors who came before me. I offer my gratitude for the safety and well-being I have been given. I offer my gratitude for the blessing of this earth that I have seen and been given. I offer my gratitude for the measure of health I have been given. I offer my gratitude for the family and friends I have been given. I offer my gratitude for the community I have been given. I offer my gratitude for the teachings and lessons I have been given. I offer my gratitude for the life I have been given. Just as we are grateful for our blessings, so we can be grateful for the blessings of others. Continue to breathe gently. Bring to mind someone you care about, someone it is easy to rejoice for. Picture them and feel the natural joy you have for their well-being and for their happiness and success. With each breath, offer them your grateful, heartfelt wishes. May you be joyful. May your happiness increase. May you not be separated from great happiness. May your good fortune and the causes for your joy and happiness increase. Sense the sympathetic joy and caring in each phrase. When you feel some degree of natural gratitude for the happiness of this loved one, extend this practice to another person you care about. Recite the same simple phrases, or find your own phrases that express your heart's intention. Then gradually open the meditation to include neutral people. Neutral people being like maybe someone that you just passed on the street, or someone who waited on you at the grocery store. And then, as you feel comfortable, move on to difficult people, people who have perhaps challenged you in some way. May you be joyful. May your happiness increase. May you not be separated from great happiness. May your good fortune and the causes for your joy and happiness increase. And if you're so inclined, you might even extend this to an enemy, someone that you really consider very far along on the difficult continuum. Extending that sympathetic joy to all beings. Even those who are challenging. And then from there, moving on to extending it to all beings everywhere, young and old, near and far. Practice dwelling in joy until the deliberate effort of practice drops away and the intentions of joy blend into the natural joy of your own wise heart.
I invite Jonathan to deliver our next reading.
Mindful by Mary Oliver from Why I Wake Early. Every day I see or hear something that more or less kills me with delight, that leaves me like a needle in the haystack of light. It was what I was born for, to look, to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy and acclamation. Nor am I talking about the exceptional, the fearful, the dreadful, the very extravagant, but of the ordinary, the common, the very drab, the daily presentations. Oh, good scholar, I say to myself, how can you help but grow wise with such teachings as these? The untrimmable light of the world, the ocean's shine, the prayers that are made out of grass.
Now I invite Diana to offer our next reading.
The reading is entitled Epiphany in the Beans by Robin Wall Kimmerer from Braiding Sweetgrass. Maybe it was the smell of ripe tomatoes, or the orioles singing, or that certain slant of light on a yellow afternoon, and the beans hanging thick around me. It just came to me in a wash of happiness that made me laugh out loud, startling the chickadees who were picking at the sunflowers, raining black and white hulls on the ground. I knew it with a certainty as warm and clear as the September sunshine. The land loves you back. She loves us with beans and tomatoes, with roasting ears and blackberries and bird songs, by a shower of gifts and a heavy rain of lessons, She provides for us and teaches us to provide for ourselves. That's what good mothers do. I looked around at the garden and could feel her delight in giving us these beautiful raspberries, squash, basil, potatoes, asparagus, lettuce, kale, beets, broccoli, peppers, Brussels sprouts, carrots, dill, onions, leeks, spinach. It reminded me of the little girl's answer to, "How much do I love you?" "This much, with arms stretched wide," they replied. This is really why I made my daughters learn to garden, so that they would always have a mother to love them long after I am gone.
But it has recently become the favorite feast of psychologists studying the consequences of giving thanks. As it turns out, giving thanks is good for you. Cultivating an attitude of gratitude, Tierney writes, has been linked to better health, sounder sleep, less anxiety and depression, higher long-term satisfaction with life, and kinder behavior toward others. A new study shows that feeling grateful makes people less likely to turn aggressive when provoked, he says, which helps to explain why so many brothers-in-law survive Thanksgiving without serious injury. Now, my brother-in-law and I always get along on Thanksgiving, brought together by our mutual love of green bean casserole. We were both very sad a few weeks ago to learn about the passing of, at age 92, of Dorcas Riley, inventor of green bean casserole. Riley was working for the Campbell Soup Home Economics Department in 1955 when she added green beans to a can of cream of mushroom soup and topped it with a handful of fried onions to create the mother of all comfort foods. Now, it doesn't usually occur to me to wonder about who invented the recipes at my holiday table. But this year I will raise a little toast to Dorcas Riley. And even if the green bean casserole isn't itself very good for me, the gratitude part apparently is. And really, if we took time out to be thankful for each of the recipes we consume and each of the people behind those recipes and the farmers who grew the food and the abundant earth herself, we'd all be healthier and happier people. If you think it's happiness that makes you grateful, says Benedictine monk David Steindl-Rast, think again. It's gratefulness that makes you happy. We all know quite a number of people who have everything that it would take to be happy, and they are not happy, he says, because they want something else, or they want more of the same. And we all know people who have lots of misfortune that we ourselves would not want to have, and yet they are deeply happy. They radiate happiness. Why? Because they are grateful. It is not happiness that makes us grateful, it is gratefulness that makes us happy. So how can we exercise that muscle of gratitude? How can we more fully develop the habit of thankfulness? Not just on one day of the year set aside for the task, but every day, every hour, even during the darkest hours of our lives, even on the worst day. How can we still find those moments of gratitude? It's as simple as remembering the lesson we were taught as children when we were learning to cross the street, Stendelras says. We must stop, look, listen. This time last year, we had a little 4-year-old boy living with us, and he was learning about crossing the street at school. And he learned a song about it, and he taught it to us. If I can remember, something like, stop, look, listen before you cross the street. Use your eyes, use your ears, and then you move your feet. That's how we cross the street. Stop, look, listen. It's simple, but we so rarely do it. We rush through life. We don't stop. We miss the opportunity because we don't stop. We need to rake leaves on a fall day. Pause to remember the people in our lives who make life good. Lose ourselves in the soft world. Find those things that kill us with delight. Put our hands in the dirt of a land that loves us back this much. Stop. Look. Listen. This is the path to gratefulness, to happiness. And this gratefulness, Stendelras says, is not just good for us, it's good for our world. It's how we can change our world. It can change our world in immensely important ways, he says, because if you're grateful, you're not fearful. And if you're not fearful, you're not violent. If you're grateful, you act out of a sense of enough and not a sense of scarcity, and you are willing to share. If you are grateful, you are enjoying the differences between people, and you are respectful to everybody. And that changes this power pyramid under which we live. So let us take the opportunity of Thanksgiving to begin our journey into a deeper gratitude. A gratitude that can lead us not only through a minefield of family dynamics at our holiday tables, but also to a happier, more healthy self. And even if we all work at it, a kinder and more peaceful world. May it be so. Amen. And blessed be.